Thursday night. Yeah. On Thursday.
Yeah, it's calmer.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah, all right.
Okay, off we go.
So,
So we have Brian, Ann, Michael, Brittany, and Suzanne present, and Lori and Luis. That's our roll call. Item number 2, consent agenda, approval of the minutes. Any motion, any questions, comments, motions to approve the minutes from last meeting?
I can make a motion to approve.
Oh. Second.
Approved. Item number 3. No one here, not on the agenda. On to number 4. The meat and potatoes of tonight, probably the art around town update. Lori, do you want to give us happenings on the status of anything? When you sent out an email, it was pretty comprehensive, right?
I did send out an email late in the day with the most final version of the Art Around Town show,
That's what you.
based on confirmations from artists. A couple fell out, adding in a couple alternates, and I'm still waiting on a couple confirmations, but I have a feeling we're pretty good. The artists are I know a lot of them, so I'm just waiting to hear from a couple. So for this phase, I think this is as good as it can be, and it's a good start.
I know we had kind of chatted about that big moon sculpture. Will that fit by the smithy?
I've talked to a couple guys at work, and we don't think it'll fit on a marble base by the near new store. If we can get that in there, the big one we want. So we've had other additional conversations, and the moon sculpture is like 11 feet tall, and it has that 3-foot base, like it's gigantic. So I think we can put it in a couple different places, maybe on the marble, the big 2 slabs back here on the promenade it'll fit there for sure. And then if we move the fly tie to Snowmass in Maine, it was a really good point that Casey brought up. It's behind rocks. It's a rock wall. So with all the pointy things, it's as protected there as it would be on Snowmass. And that would be kind of a good change to maybe have it down there. But I guess the point is there's only some sculptures can be only in a few different locations, as everybody is pretty aware that's done this before. So it's a struggle sometimes to try to make a puzzle fit.
I guess, would the dancing moon grouping, would we have any problems placing that one anywhere then?
That would probably have to go in front of town hall,
Okay,
because I think we've placed another one of hers there, and it was on a grouping.
Yeah.
And I think we actually we have 3 slabs of marble out there, or we bring one in.
okay.
So that is a possibility to have moon there or there
Mhm.
on Snowmass, and then the fly can go either place.
Okay, cool. Those were my only questions about where we're at now.
Cool.
One quick question, just so I can give the trustees an update. I wasn't able to be part of the voting this year. How many new sculptures in total?
15.
15? Okay, great,
The usual.
thanks.
And at some point, once we get everything super finalized, then we'll do the placement. There is a couple like requests. Eric Brendlinger submitted the sculpture on behalf of his father. And so I kind of emailed him a couple times. They had asked, suggest maybe the promenade or the Rio. But then when I mentioned 4th and Maine by the gallery, he thought that was fantastic. He got very excited about that. So I think that's kind of a thing that we would need to do. And then the sculpture that you all approved today, the alternate, the,
The heart one.
yeah, the red one is way cool. She's a great artist. She even put a note in, she goes, just food for thought, but it looks really great against a wall, like, a wall. And it would be awesome there next to the near new with that really cool brick vintage
Yeah.
wall, if we can get, so I'm just throwing those comments out because that's what I've heard. And, so that might work,
Yeah, I could see with a backdrop of some sort, it would help it stand out.
right?
Which makes sense.
And the bricks are really pretty over there.
Mhm.
So anyway, those are just a few comments. But I think it's going pretty well there,
Knock on wood.
knock on wood.
Great. Any other questions or thoughts on where things stand with that packet?
When is the, when are we thinking about doing the placement? Is that at the next meeting? Is that where we make that decision? Sometimes I think it's helpful to walk around and, as we did last year, to
I think last-
visualize where they're gonna be.
Yeah, I think last year was a special meeting, right? It wasn't during a scheduled meeting, so
Yeah.
I don't know timing wise.
He can do it an hour earlier, so it's.
I won't be at the April meeting.
So it would have to be May, right? Wait, what's
It would
after
be-
April?
That's pretty late.
Is it late? So should we do, oh wait, this is March.
If we did it another time in April,
Okay,
Once we know all the finals, we know what has to go where. There'll be a few left where we can kind of review and make any final adjustments.
so probably sometime in April, it sounds like, Suzanne.
Well,
Okay,
I kind of got the contracts ready to go. So I was gonna give them, 2 or 3 weeks. I'm gonna be out of town good part of March, so end of March could be a deadline for the contract, then it's a solid deal, and then you can choose.
Great.
Okay,
When
That
are
works
when are you around in April?
anytime after about the first week.
okay, so maybe like the second week or,
Yeah, and kind of, we wait till the weather's a little nicer too.
I don't know, I like this weather.
Good for you, Brittany.
Question, if we didn't have any critical business for a meeting in April, can we just schedule that special meeting in lieu of our normal meeting rather than having to meet twice that month?
Yep.
Cool.
right.
And I can most certainly continue to send updates on the show. And when it's pretty final, I don't really expect any changes, but I can just keep sending email updates.
That's great.
So then the other question is on the walkabout, the art walk. Is that a date that we're thinking about changing? Because Michael, I know you're not going to be around, and I know that you and Brian were great MCs last year, and I would love to see a repeat of that. But I don't know how the rest of the team feels.
Yeah, we gave it some thought last month and we talked about, having a little bit more discussion on it tonight. And, I will not be here on that Thursday. I also know that Friday, I think Marble has a big event planned that will occupy a huge portion of the street down at Snowmass in Maine.
Sure, and I don't think that doing it on First Friday is a good idea anyways.
Yeah,
I just didn't know if, we were taking into consideration maybe doing it the following week.
I believe our hands are fairly tied due to the fact it's tied to the overall town schedule that's already been put into motion
In schedule where?
for the town calendar and events.
Okay. And has that been published?
Oh, yes, I believe so. Kay is nodding
There's a
yes.
special events committee that met all last fall. And for
I
any
got it.
major change like that, the trustees would have to approve it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I think for this year, if there's no significant, conflict, we should probably stick with what we have. And if we want to look at
Okay.
changes in the future, we can.
So what is the date?
It's June 1st. And just, I think I can reach out to Marble. But my guess is that with their huge event on the 2nd, they may not have the capacity to host on the 1st, but we can check and see if that's, I know we really appreciated their space and contributions last year. So it would be great if they could do it, and we can reach out and check and see, but I'm just anticipating that
Yeah.
they may not be able to. So
Yeah, and we can always revisit some of the other places in town with a great patio. That was kind of my target last year, is what had kind of a nice indoor outdoor. Marble had that ability to open up and be indoor outdoor, and they also had the rooftop. Maybe the new and improved Mi Casita,
La Raza,
will be an option.
yeah.
I'm
They're
not sure.
set to open early April, so
Well,
Were they at the
structure,
meeting on,
so.
what's that?
were they at the trustee meeting on Tuesday? I saw?
Yeah, the liquor license got approved
Okay.
yesterday, so.
Awesome. So
But,
that could be an option.
yeah, they're eager to work with the community. We reached out through 5 Point to see if we could do something there depending on their opening schedule, so.
Okay, do we have a point of contact?
Just via Instagram, one of the owners, Adam Milgram.
DM
Okay,
them?
I'll
Yeah.
slide into some DMs if we need.
Any other thoughts on the reception location while we're on this subject? Is Marble kind of our first choice?
I liked Marble.
La Raza, second option.
We
You
could,
kind of end the tour over there by Marble.
yeah, it worked well for a point of conclusion. Kind of
Once we,
end
like,
in
redid
that
the tour.
area. I don't know, I think let's put some feelers out and then kind of go from there.
Cool. Great.
I think there's other options if Marble says no.
Did you guys talk to Beerworks already?
No, not yet.
Because I think Patrice is always,
Make sure they'd
they'd
love
be
to
more
have
than
us.
happy to.
Yeah.
It's- So,
Yeah.
I think you've got options.
Anything with a patio and I'm in. It's
Yeah.
not hard to please me.
Anything with
Patio and
liquor
alcohol.
and alcohol. is
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Sounds like it qualifies.
Yeah, Thunder River. Oh, if something else doesn't.
Hmm.
Because it's
Mhm.
early in the day.
Yeah.
Even if they
Mm.
in the clay center might do. So
Mhm.
there would be children.
I think you said April.
April-ish,
Aprilish, yeah.
but I'm saying ish because construction, we all know.
Yeah. Well, it's Kyle we talked to about 3 years ago.
Mhm.
They were very happy to do it.
Yeah, we could, I think it's worth revisiting any of the locations just on Main,
They were
Um,
very. Laurie was there.
depending on what Carrie says for Marble. But yeah.
It's very-
All right, that's our agenda item 5 is review discussion on the reception art walk. Is there anything else on the format of that? It sounds like what we did last year worked pretty well. When we get locations down and a place for reception, maybe we'll have time to think about the route and all that kind of stuff, but
Who's gonna ask Marvel?
I can reach out unless you feel like you have a really great connection.
Either.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to
Whatever-
reach out.
Whatever's easy.
Cool. I can do that. I think that's all.
Quick question, is this, what is it called? The reclaimed gas tank? That's an alternate, correct?
No, no.
It's
no,
in?
It's in.
So where would we put that? It's huge,
Well,
6x4.
promenade where the purple Reno's
Okay.
sculpture is,
Hmm.
it's 1,200 pounds.
Oh,
And I reached out to the guy before it was in the jury to see how you would even, I mean, it still has to kind of be tack welded. you
Yeah.
know? So he said he would put tabs on it so it could be tack welded,
Okay,
but it weighs 1,200 pounds.
okay,
this.
that's
So I think that's like the.
kind
spot.
of the spot,
Oh,
yeah.
Is this an alternate or it's in the?
It's in the show.
Oh,
The alternates are, I think I attached to the back. There's 3 alternates now.
But the otter's in now, right?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm waiting to hear from him.
So far, yeah, might
And the Orbicado.
be
I'm
coming to.
emotionally invested in both of those.
Oh, yeah.
Avocado
No, Orbicado.
or avocado?
Uh-huh.
That's how Ted is. He
Interesting.
always does stuff like that.
Here,
Hold on a second. Let's see.
blurry zoom.
Heard from,
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
is it Ted Shaw about the Orbicado?
No, I don't think Ted's gotten in touch with me, but that's to,
Okay,
I'll make phone calls in a few days, but it takes some of these guys a few days to check emails.
nice.
The statement is a little bit unclear. It says this year I'm including an ornamental compass rose design. Which is the other images he had in there, so. We'll have to see what he says.
Well, I indicated to him that we accepted that one.
Okay.
So
Great.
let me, thanks for the heads up. I'll get in touch with him. Did you get in touch with
Orbicado.
the red pin guy?
I got the thing, yeah, I didn't call him, I just forwarded on to Trina.
Nice. Is there anything else on our agenda?
Item 6 is just a quick discussion on the 2024 Art Around Town format. I mean, I think, we had some questions kind of late in the game about the number of submissions and the format and the stipends and all that stuff. I don't think we need to go into detail now. What I would recommend is that we all give it some thought and that at our next couple meetings, we maybe present some ideas so that we can kind of review and think about a little bit more.
Yeah, and just to clarify, this is for a potential in reducing the quantity of submissions that we accept to increase the stipend or whatever the.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly one path. I mean, I don't want to like put rails on it right now. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
think
know,
we
it's
can
just-
just have
that
a
was the-
conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
That was- yeah.
Direction we were talking
Well, I think
as an option.
it may be good to identify some of the challenges,
Mhm.
which are, is the stipend significant enough for artists to participate? And there's various solutions to that, is it that there's a huge stipend to artists and they have an opportunity to present different sculptures in the same, like a more concentrated form. I mean,
Mhm.
we can talk about
Yeah.
all of that, but I would just like, encourage everyone to give it some thought so that we can maybe present some ideas in the coming months so that we're not getting into the fall and when it's time to put the call out and at the end of the year and
We want to set that to be what we talk about and also discuss how the walk went. So that's all targeted for after the walk.
Yeah, I think if we had some ideas going into that, it would be great. I don't, good.
And I think one thing that might be worthwhile, since you're gonna have the artists here who are in this, have we ever done any kind of like survey from the artists or anything like that? That just asks
Yeah.
them for their feedback?
Yeah.
We have?
I have.
You have?
Mhm.
When was the last time you did one, Lori?
Well, when I go up to the Marble Symposium, I talk to those guys.
Okay.
And money always matters.
Mhm.
I think it would be good to actually get data.
I think it'd be great to, send out a short little survey,
Yeah.
for the current ones and really see where the target is and whether we're hitting it or if we need to improve it. 44 people still applied, so something's appealing to them. And obviously money is always, the target for everyone. But, I think exposure is also can be a factor.
Well, and that's where I think exposure, how you measure that when you're in one
Exactly.
artist in a larger show. That's where I think, coming with ideas about how to either improve or potentially, build upon what Art Around Town is doing would be a good, entry point. Like getting feedback from the artists, figuring if looking at what other communities are doing as well with their Art Around Town programs. So.
I don't mind helping collect that data. But Laura, you might know what towns do the art. How do you?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So many.
So we have a list that could help.
Yeah.
And then a couple of us could call 3 or 4,
Yeah.
Let the list up. And if we can find out what they're paying, at least we'll have that data before.
Well, I think
Otherwise, we're just.
doesn't cafe, because a lot of the municipalities utilize cafe.
Yeah.
So really, we could look through cafe artist calls to see what
That's good.
towns are paying.
Yeah, that's great idea.
That's a great approach.
I talked to a couple artists who actually put all their eggs in a basket, like it's South Dakota, I think, and they throw an enormous party. And they're like, we're all about the party.
Yeah.
They go and they party for a couple days and it's so much fun. And that's what's most important to them.
Well,
Well,
I
yeah.
wouldn't choose South Dakota.
Well, that's where the good artists are going, I guess.
But it would be really helpful to hear if there's Colorado. Maybe state.
Something else to factor in too, that we haven't really touched on, but more and more towns are doing Art Around Town or their version.
Yeah.
So there's more competition. How do we stand out amongst the crowd other than being one of the older, more successful ones or the longest standing? Because a lot of those municipalities call Carbondale for advice and how to set that up. But I see RFIs and RFPs just through my work about towns setting up art for themselves. So it's huge.
Yeah.
Salida's big, because and
Salida,
and you called several of those
Mhm.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
To drum up
yeah,
more applications.
yeah.
Salida, Loveland, Eagle, Vale.
Cheyenne, Fort
Avon.
Collins, Frisco just set up a program last
Yes.
year.
Yeah.
So, with more towns doing that and more cities, how do we stand out? What makes us why you should pick us to submit? That's maybe a question that we should look to answer.
I just had this thought while you guys were all talking too, and I'm not sure how it needs to evolve. But as part of the call, it could also be stated that the town is looking to purchase a sculpture from the show.
Mhm.
And then, there'll be a limited number of sculptures selected. And then there will be some sort of like campaign in town of like Survey Monkey or something to see what the community would vote on
That would be
to
cool.
purchase something. And it, you know, I mean, it can't, I don't know if it could be a $200,000 sculpture, but
Could-
have some sort of budget frame for everybody to kind of be on the same page.
How many years have we been doing this?
What's the thing say since like 2009, 7? But if you talk to the old timers, it's been like 1999.
Where they just went rogue and put
They had
sculptures everywhere.
cocktails where they were talking.
Is there a way we could make it like a, I don't know, because there's always the anniversary type celebrations.
We can make one up.
Yeah, could we not do
25th
that?
year.
Yeah, that's a huge statement in itself.
Yeah, we could do that. Celebrate the longevity.
Yeah,
Whereas everybody else is relatively new. They've called us on how to do it.
Right.
We know how to do it. So now we're celebrating.
we're the standard.
Yes.
Not quite 25, but yeah.
But I mean,
Closing in on it.
for next year or something, that could be an
15th
approach.
is next year would be its 15th anniversary.
I don't know.
I don't know. I guess, yeah,
It
you're
was
right. We'd have to go back and look and see kind of when it started,
2009.
right? If it was
Unless we're
2009.
counting the 90s.
We also have to decide. And the town probably has, do we want to commit to purchasing one every year?
Actually, it says
Because
2000.
then where we put them and then. the
Right.
town has to
But if-
maintain them.
And if we tie in that purchase though, to
So
maybe
it's 20
an
years this year.
anniversary celebration, like the
Well,
big
that
far
hits.
off.
makes sense, but
Yeah.
every-
Right, so
talked to
maybe
Joe
like
Hanson,
every
it's
25
like-
years.
Oh, we do it at any anniversary.
Right. They
This
don't
is
have to know.
20
Yeah,
this year.
the website says
There's-
2003 that it started the
20
1%
years.
and the and established art
Boy,
around
that was a
town.
missed opportunity. Why didn't we think of this sooner?
But again, you know, kind of a Debbie Downer thing, the community didn't really get real involved in the best of show. And that's why we kind of nixed that. But
Mhm.
maybe if we gave it new life or even did best of show again, but say, hey, that's $5,000.
Mhm.
Raise the honorarium or something.
Yeah.
Make it, you know, kind of stand out and be like, hey. More
20
money
year-
talks. That's all they want to do is sell their art. You know, I get calls. Do you have any more leads? You know, why am I not selling it?
And, you know, it also cost of living has gone up, as we're all very aware out here. So to a point, to make it out here from farther states, it takes more money. So I do understand that desire to go for the bigger honorariums.
For sure.
Maybe we should market the towns around the valley to buy our art as well. Well, the fly tide is coming from Canada
Yeah.
with Paul. That's perfect for basalt. You know,
Mhm.
maybe basalt would want to buy that. And, you know, there's a discount or something for communities. I don't know, but we're not marketing other communities and maybe we should.
It's a good point. All food for thought.
These are great ideas. I feel like even in that quick rundown, there's a lot of things we can look into and different models and more money. So yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just keep that conversation going. Anything else?
I can make a motion for us to go home.
By all means.
Is there anyone that would like to back me up on that? And with the
I
second,
see a second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anything on the stage.
Aye. I think Brian's asleep.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Guys.
Thanks.